Good morning and welcome to our Kids Church Daily Bible Reading. In our journey through the letter the Apostle Paul wrote to the Christians in Philippi, we have heard of how happy Paul was to hear that the Philippian Christians are still growing in faith, and how he was even happier to hear about how much they want to help with the work of proclaiming the gospel. He has encouraged themselves to act in a manner worthy of the gospel and to have the mindset of Christ. This mindset will help them to be united and work together as a church and not have the arguments and fights that can cause trouble inside a church. Paul now starts talking about issues that can cause trouble from outside the church. He tells them especially they need to be careful of people who teach the wrong thing. He is worried about people who were teaching that Christians had to be circumcised before God would accept them as his people. Circumcision was something God had told Abraham and his descendants to do. You can read about it in Genesis 17. It was done to every Israelite or Jewish boy on the 8th day after his birth. It reminded them of the covenant God had made with them. It showed that they were one of the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It showed that they belonged to the nation of Israel. It was a mark on their bodies that showed they belonged to God. And the other nations around about Israel didn't do this. So now that people from those other nations that were not Jewish have come to believe in Jesus, should they also be circumcised? Paul and the Apostle Peter and other leaders of the church had already discussed this question. They had said no. Whatever nation people are from, they are all saved by faith, not by following the law or the requirements about circumcision. But some people were still teaching that these new Christians must be circumcised in order to truly be the people of God. This is the group of people that Paul is worried will cause trouble for the new Christians in Philippi, because the Philippians are not from the nation of Israel and they are not circumcised. Today's Bible reader is Annika Noakes in Rock at Kids Church. She is reading Philippians chapter 3 from the NIV.
Philippians 3, verse 1 to 6. Further, my brothers and sisters, rejoice in the Lord. It is no trouble for me to write the same things to you again, and it is a safeguard for you. Watch out for those dogs, those evildoers, those mutilators of the flesh. For it is we who are the circumcision, we who serve God by his Spirit, who boast in Christ Jesus, and who put no confidence in the flesh, though I, myself, have reasons for such confidence. If someone else thinks they have reasons to put confidence in the flesh, I have more. Circumcised on the 8th day of the people of Israel, of the tribe of Benjamin, a Hebrew of Hebrews, in regard to the law, a Pharisee. As for zeal, persecuting the church, as for righteousness, based on the law, faultless.
Here are some questions to help you think about this passage. Paul uses some very strong language to talk about the false teachers. This shows us how much their teaching upset him and what an important issue it was. Paul uses the words the circumcision to mean the true people of God. Who does Paul say is the circumcision or the true people of God? Look in verse 3. Paul says we are the circumcision. By this he means himself, Paul, and those with him like Timothy and Epaphroditus, as well as the Philippian Christians and many others. How does Paul describe this group? There are 3 different phrases he uses. Look in verse 3. Now, if I have confidence in the flesh, it means to have confidence in myself. It means I think I am acceptable to God because of what I do or who I am. I keep the laws, I do good works, I was born into a good family. But Paul says true people of God do not have confidence in themselves. Instead, they are to have confidence in who. Who should they boast in? So why should we and the Philippians have confidence in Christ or boast in him? What has he done for us? Paul is going to show them how wrong it is to think that you can be acceptable to God based on what you do, and he uses himself as an example. What reasons does Paul give that he might have confidence in himself? Look in verses 4 to 6. Make sure you listen tomorrow to find out what he says next. Here are some suggestions for prayer. Thank God that we are saved by faith in Jesus. Thank God that we are not saved by what we do. Thank God that he saves people from every nation by faith. Pray that we would trust Jesus to save us. Pray that the leaders of our church would teach us the truth and that they would stop false teaching. Spend some time praying now, either by yourself or with your family.